Have you ever felt like you're trapped in a loop, constantly circling the same lessons and challenges, waiting for that magical moment when everything will finally change? What if I told you that the breakthrough you've been searching for isn't waiting for you in some distant future? It's already here, waiting for you to claim it? But before we begin, please hit the like button and let me know where in the world you're watching from today. It's always fascinating seeing who's joining us from around the world. There's a reason you found this video today. And no, it wasn't random. Something deep within you recognized that you're standing at a crossroads, a moment where the version of yourself that's been struggling, waiting, and hoping meets the version that's ready to transform. Has this ever happened to you? That subtle inner knowing that says, I can't keep doing things the same way and expect different results? September carries a different energy. Can you feel it? It's not because the seasons are shifting or because the universe has somehow aligned perfectly for you. It's because something within you has decided that you're no longer willing to be who you were in August. There's a version of you, higher, cleaner, clearer, that's been patiently waiting in the wings, and this month, this is the month you finally meet them. Stay with me until the end, because what I'm about to share isn't just another collection of techniques or spiritual bypassing. This is about a fundamental shift in your state of being. A shift so powerful that it will quietly but completely reroute your entire reality. It begins with understanding that transformation doesn't happen in the external world first. It happens within you. Florence Scovel Shinn understood this profound truth decades ago. She knew that the outer world is merely a reflection of our inner state. What you're about to discover might surprise you in its simplicity, yet challenge you in its application. Because the truth is, most of us have been taught to chase, to strive, to prove ourselves worthy of our desires, when all along the secret has been in a different direction entirely. What if everything you've been seeking, the abundance, the love, the confidence, the peace, isn't something you need to acquire, but something you need to remember? What if the gap between where you are and where you want to be isn't a matter of distance, but a matter of perception? September is calling you to a higher way of being, not through more doing, not through perfect techniques, but through a shift in identity so fundamental that everything else naturally realigns around it. And it begins with just two words that when spoken from the right state of being can break the spell that's been running your life. If you're ready to permanently shift from chasing to embodying, from wanting to having, subscribe to this channel now. Each video is designed to deepen your relationship with the truth that everything you desire is already yours. But these two words aren't just another affirmation or mantra to add to your spiritual toolkit. What I'm offering you today is something far more profound. An invitation to step into a state of being so powerful that it will silently yet dramatically redirect the entire trajectory of your reality. This invitation isn't about doing more or trying harder. It's not about adding another technique to your already overflowing collection of spiritual practices. The journey of transformation we're embarking on together requires something much deeper than external action. It requires an internal revolution, a fundamental shift in the way you perceive yourself and your relationship with everything you desire. The mindset you've been operating from, the one that says you need to chase, prove, earn, and struggle before you can have what you want, has been running like an invisible program in the background of your consciousness. It's the hidden truth that's been shaping your experiences, often without your awareness. And until you address this core operating system, no amount of positive thinking or visualization will create lasting change. What if I told you that this entire program could be rewritten with just two words? Two simple words that, when spoken from the right state of consciousness, have the power to break the spell that's been running your life. These aren't magical words in themselves. Their power lies in the revelation they contain, the perspective shift they trigger when truly understood and embodied. But I can't just give them to you yet. If I did, your mind would hear them, but your being wouldn't receive them. And this journey isn't about intellectual understanding. It's about embodied knowing. The kind of knowing that rewires your nervous system and rearranges your energetic signature in the world. The decisions you make from this moment forward will determine whether these two words become just another concept you learned once or the catalyst for the most significant transformation of your life. This is why we need to approach them with reverence, with presence, with the understanding that we're not just playing with ideas, we're engaging with the very fabric of our reality. Now, I want to go even deeper into why most people remain stuck in patterns of waiting and wanting despite all their spiritual knowledge and practice. You see, there's a fundamental misunderstanding at play, one that even the most advanced teachers often miss. And it's this misunderstanding that keeps the gap between you and your desires feeling unbridgeable. The journey ahead requires courage, the courage to question everything you thought you knew about how manifestation works. The courage to let go of the familiar, even when the new feels uncertain. The courage to trust the process of becoming before you see external evidence. Write in the comments, "I'm ready to bridge the gap," if you can feel something shifting. Already, even before hearing these two powerful words, your readiness is the first step in this profound revelation. The gap that exists between where you are and where you want to be isn't actually filled by doing more. It's filled by accessing a deeper part of yourself, a part that already knows exactly how to create the life you desire. This wisdom isn't something you need to acquire. It's something you need to uncover, to remember, to allow back into your conscious awareness. Think about it this way. Beneath the surface-level mind that's constantly racing with thoughts, worries, and plans, there exists a deeper intelligence. This is the part of you that knows how to breathe without thinking, that keeps your heart beating, that orchestrates millions of cellular functions every second. This intelligence isn't confused about how to manifest what you want. It's already a master creator. But its voice has been drowned out by the noise of fear, the static of doubt, and the constant chatter of a world that profits from your disconnection. The journey we're embarking on isn't about adding more to this noise. It's about clearing the pathway to this deeper wisdom, this innate knowing that has been with you all along. The revelations you're seeking aren't found in more information. They're found in the silence between your thoughts, in the space where your authentic self resides. You see, there's a profound distinction between desiring results and becoming the cause of those results. Most approaches to manifestation focus entirely on the desire, making it clear, making it strong, making it specific. But desire alone is like a seed without soil. It has potential, but nowhere to take root. The missing element, the true catalyst for transformation, is your state of being. Your state isn't your mood or your emotions or even your thoughts. It's the frequency you're broadcasting at the level of identity. It's who you are being moment to moment. And here's the hidden truth that changes everything. The universe doesn't respond to what you want. It responds to who you are. It matches your state with perfect precision, like a mirror reflecting back exactly what's placed before it. So the breakthrough you're seeking doesn't come from wanting more intensely or visualizing more clearly. It comes from shifting your state of being from one who is wanting, hoping, and waiting to one who is already embodying the essence of what they desire. This subtle but powerful distinction is what separates those who continuously chase their dreams from those who naturally attract them. The mindset shift I'm describing isn't about positive thinking or forcing yourself to feel good when you don't. It's about recognizing that on a fundamental level, you are not separate from your desires. The very fact that you can conceive of them means they already exist within you as potential, as possibility, as seeds waiting for the right conditions to bloom. When you begin to operate from this understanding, everything changes. Your decisions become different. Your actions become different. Even your body language and the energy you bring into a room become different. Not because you're trying to change them, but because they're natural expressions of your new state of being. Write in the comments, I choose to embody, not just desire. If you're feeling the distinction between these two approaches and are ready to make this powerful shift in your own life. Let's examine what's really happening when you're trying to create change in your life. Your state of being, who you are at the core level of identity, is like a broadcast signal you're constantly sending out into the universe. This isn't mystical thinking. It's a fundamental principle of how reality operates. The frequency you embody becomes the magnet that draws experiences, people, and circumstances that match that frequency. Think about how this plays out in your everyday life. When you're in a state of lack, constantly focusing on what's missing, the world around you seems to conspire to show you more evidence of scarcity. It's not that the universe is punishing you. It's simply that your inner state creates a lens through which you perceive and interact with reality. And that lens becomes a filter that determines what you can and cannot experience. Subscribe now and join a community of conscious creators who understand that manifestation isn't something you do. It's something you are. The profound revelation here is that the mirror never lies. If your life feels like a struggle, if opportunities seem to pass you by, if abundance feels just out of reach, these aren't random circumstances happening to you. They're precise reflections of your dominant state of being. The journey of transformation isn't about changing the reflection. It's about changing the one being reflected. This is why affirmations, vision boards, and manifestation techniques often fall short of creating lasting change. They're attempting to manipulate the reflection without addressing the source. It's like putting makeup on a mirror and expecting your face to look different. The impact of this misunderstanding can be devastating, leaving you feeling like you're doing everything right but still not seeing results. Here's the missing piece that most teachers skip over entirely. Manifestation isn't about learning techniques to get what you want. It's about becoming the kind of person who naturally attracts what they desire. The techniques aren't the destination. They're just scaffolding to support your inner transformation. The true mastery comes when you no longer need the techniques because you've embodied the state that naturally creates what you want. Behind the scenes of every successful manifestation is a shift in identity that precedes the external change. Look at anyone who's created extraordinary results in any area of life. They didn't just use techniques, they became different. Their mindset, their energy, their presence in the world shifted first, and their circumstances followed as a natural consequence. This distinction completely revolutionizes how you approach creating change. Instead of asking, what do I need to do to get what I want? The question becomes, who do I need to be to naturally attract what I want? Instead of focusing on the having, you focus on the being. And when the being is aligned, the doing and the having follow with an ease that feels almost magical. The journey we're on isn't about adding more tools to your manifestation toolkit. It's about recognizing that you are the tool. Your state, your frequency, your embodied presence is what creates your reality. And once you understand this, you'll never approach manifestation the same way again. Type in the comments, the mirror never lies. if you're beginning to see how your inner state has been creating your outer experiences all along. This revelation brings us to a profound truth about your identity. Right now, you're carrying two versions of yourself within you. The first version is the one you're most familiar with, the one who's been diligently following all the rules, doing everything right, checking all the spiritual boxes, yet still feeling the frustration of not seeing the results you desire. This version operates from a mindset of almost there, believing that with just a little more effort, just a little more time, just one more technique, everything will finally click into place. But there's another version of you that exists simultaneously, a version that's been quietly waiting in the background of your consciousness. This version knows something the first version doesn't, that you never needed to wait, that you never needed to earn what was already yours by divine right. This version understands that the journey of manifestation isn't about becoming worthy enough to receive. It's about removing the barriers to what's already yours, the transformation. We're discussing isn't about creating a new you. It's about allowing this second version, this authentic self, to take over the driver's seat of your life. It's about making a decision to stop identifying with the one who's waiting and start embodying the one who knows. This shift in identification isn't something that happens gradually over time. It's a choice you make in an instant, a decision to step into a new paradigm of being. The hidden truth that Florence Scovel Shinn understood so deeply was that we don't actually create our reality, we remember it. This subtle but revolutionary distinction changes everything about how you approach manifestation. When you're trying to create something, you're operating from a mindset of lack, believing that what you want doesn't exist yet and needs to be brought into being through effort and struggle. But when you're remembering, you're acknowledging that what you desire already exists in a higher dimension of consciousness, and your job is simply to align with it. This perspective completely shifts the impact of your manifestation practice. Instead of pushing against reality, trying to force it to conform to your desires, you're relaxing into a recognition that your desired reality is already complete. Your journey becomes one of alignment rather than creation, tuning your frequency to match what already exists rather than trying to build it from scratch. Behind the scenes of every spiritual tradition is this same understanding that what we're seeking isn't something new or foreign to us. It's our natural state, our birthright, the reality that exists when we remove the veils of limiting beliefs and false identities. The path of manifestation is really a path of remembering who you truly are and what's already yours by divine inheritance. The mindset shift from creating to remembering feels completely different in your body. There's a relaxation, an ease, a sense of coming home to yourself rather than straining to become something you're not. And it's from this state, this aligned, remembering state, that miracles begin to unfold naturally in your life. Drop in the comments, "I choose to remember, not create," if you can feel the difference between these two approaches and are ready to shift from striving to remembering what's already yours. Now let's explore what might be the most powerful truth Florence Scovel Shinn ever shared with the world. She understood a principle that cuts through all the spiritual noise and gets straight to the heart of manifestation. You do not attract what you want. You attract what you are. This single sentence contains the foundation of everything that works and everything that fails in your life. It's the skeleton key that unlocks why some people seem to effortlessly manifest their desires, while others remain stuck in cycles of wanting and waiting. The distinction isn't in how badly they want something or how clearly they can visualize it. It's in who they're being at the core level of identity. Think of it this way. Your state of being is like a tuning fork vibrating at a specific frequency. That frequency doesn't attract what you're asking for. It attracts what it's resonating with. If you're being someone who believes they're still lacking, even if you meditate for hours each day and recite perfect affirmations, the frequency you're emitting is still lack. If you're being someone who hopes money comes soon, even if you journal every night about abundance, you're broadcasting the frequency of not yet, and the universe simply mirrors that back to you with perfect precision. The revelation that transforms everything is this: the solution isn't to want differently, it's to be differently. Not tomorrow when the check clears, not next month when the relationship manifests, not someday when you finally feel worthy. Now, in this moment, before any external circumstances have changed. This is where the real spiritual mastery begins. Anyone can want something badly. Anyone can learn techniques. But shifting your state of being without requiring external validation first, that's the work that separates conscious creators from perpetual seekers. And yes, it's uncomfortable. Your mind will fight it. Your body might even physically resist it. The old story that's been running your life will whisper urgently, "That's not how reality works. You can't just decide to be different without proof." But that resistance, that discomfort, it's actually the sign that you're close. You're poking at the identity you've worn like armor, the one that says, "I'm almost there. I just need a little more time. I'm doing my best." The decision point comes when you recognize that the version of you that's been waiting was built on a fundamental misunderstanding. The version that gets what they want isn't waiting for permission to be who they are. They're not waiting for evidence to feel how they want to feel. They're not postponing their state of being until conditions improve. They're being now and allowing the external to catch up. This journey of transformation requires a level of courage that goes beyond what most are willing to explore. It asks you to stand in a new identity before you have any external confirmation that it's working. It asks you to trust the process of becoming before seeing, to embody the frequency of having before the physical manifestation appears. Share in the comments, "I am what I attract," if you're beginning to feel the power of this principle and are ready to shift your focus from what you want to who you're being. When we look deeper at the version of you that's been struggling to manifest what you desire, we find something revealing at its core, a foundation built entirely on waiting. This old identity has been structured around the belief that what you want exists somewhere in the future, and your job is to qualify for it, to earn it, to become worthy enough to receive it. Every action you take from this mindset is tinged with the energy of not yet, and that waiting becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. But the version of you that effortlessly attracts what they desire operates from an entirely different blueprint. This version isn't waiting for anything. They're being. They're embodying the frequency of their desire now without needing external permission or validation. They understand that the journey isn't about becoming good enough to receive. It's about removing the barriers to what's already theirs. The transformation we're discussing is a revolutionary paradigm shift in how you relate to everything you desire. It's about recognizing that the waiting game you've been playing is actually what's keeping your desires at arm's length. The very act of waiting places your desires perpetually in the future, always coming, never here. But when you step into being, you collapse that timeline. You bring the future into the now through the doorway of your embodied state. This mindset revolution doesn't happen through intellectual understanding alone. It happens through a felt sense in your body, a knowing that registers at the cellular level. And that's precisely why I haven't shared the two-word formula with you yet. If I gave it to you too early, you might hear it, but you wouldn't receive it. You'd add it to your collection of concepts rather than allowing it to rewire your entire being. The journey we're on requires you to prove to yourself that you're ready, not by doing more or knowing more, but by being willing to hold the tension of transformation without flinching. This willingness to sit in the discomfort of change, to feel your old identity squirm as it senses its foundations cracking, is the sign of true readiness. It's the indication that you're not just here for another quick fix or temporary high, but for a genuine rebirth of who you are. Behind the scenes of every profound transformation is this moment of tension, the space between who you've been and who you're becoming. Most people run from this tension. They distract themselves. They go looking for the next technique. They refuse to sit in the fertile void where real change happens. But you're different. You're still here, breathing through the discomfort, allowing something new to emerge. The revelation that's coming. These two words that will change everything. They land differently in prepared soil. And that's what we're doing now, preparing the ground of your consciousness to receive a truth so simple yet so powerful that it will reorganize your entire relationship with reality. When these words finally land, they won't just be words you hear. They'll be a frequency you embody, a truth you recognize rather than learn. The journey of embodiment requires patience, not the patience of waiting, but the patience of becoming. It's the willingness to allow the caterpillar to fully dissolve in the chrysalis before expecting the butterfly to emerge. Type in the comments, "I'm no longer waiting," if you can feel yourself shifting from the energy of postponement to the power of present embodiment. So here's what we'll do next. I want you to stay with me through these next few moments. Don't skip ahead mentally. Don't fast forward to the conclusion. Let your old identity sweat a little. Let it panic. Let it grip the walls of its crumbling comfort zone, like someone desperately holding onto the edge of a cliff, not realizing there's solid ground just below their feet. This discomfort you might be feeling, it's not a warning sign to retreat. It's a breakthrough indicator. It's your old self-concept recognizing that its time is up, that the version of you that's been running the show, the one built on lack, on separation, on not yet, is about to be replaced by something far more aligned with your true nature. The resistance you might experience in this moment is actually a profound gift. It's the friction that creates the heat of transformation. Behind every significant evolution in consciousness is this sacred moment of surrender, the willingness to let what no longer serves you fall away, even before you can see what's coming to replace it. Most people spend their entire lives avoiding this discomfort. They build elaborate systems of distraction, of busyness, of spiritual bypassing, anything to avoid feeling the dissolution of who they thought they were. But the paradox is that this avoidance is what keeps them locked in patterns of limitation. The very thing they're running from is the doorway to their freedom. Your journey has brought you to this threshold for a reason. The fact that you're still here, still breathing, still allowing this process to unfold, speaks to something deep within you that's ready. Ready to shed the old stories, ready to embody a new frequency, ready to claim what's always been yours. Now, I want you to take a breath, a real one. Close your eyes if you can. Let go of the noise, the mind spinning, the waiting, the how much. Longer until it finally happens. Breathe, because what comes next only lands if you're still enough to hear it. Not with your ears, but with your entire being. You've been on the edge of something for a while now. This isn't the first time you've searched for answers. This isn't the first time you've felt close to a breakthrough. But this is the first time you're being invited to stop searching outside yourself altogether. The revelation that's coming isn't just another technique or concept to add to your spiritual collection. It's a remembering so profound that it changes how you experience reality itself. In this stillness, can you sense it? That quiet knowing beneath all the mental chatter? That part of you that's never been confused, never been lost, never been separate from what you desire? That's the consciousness we're stepping into now. That's the frequency we're tuning to. That's the version of you that's about to take the driver's seat. The awakening that's unfolding doesn't require you to become something new. It requires you to recognize what's always been true. And this recognition doesn't happen in the noise of doing. It happens in the silence of being. Share in the comments. I embrace the stillness. If you can feel yourself dropping beneath the surface of your thoughts into that deeper place of knowing. In this stillness, a profound truth emerges, one that will transform everything if you're willing to receive it. The answer you've been seeking isn't out there, in more books, more courses, more techniques. It's not hidden in some esoteric teaching that you haven't discovered yet. The answer is inside you. It's always been inside you. And it's beautifully, almost shockingly simple. In fact, it's just two words. Two words that when spoken with full conviction don't just change your beliefs, they change your entire identity. They end the search. They end the waiting. They end the version of you that thought the prize was at the finish line of some spiritual marathon you've been running. Are you ready? Say these words out loud. It's already mine. Again, slower this time. It's already mine. Let those words sink in. Let them challenge you. Because something deep inside might resist this declaration. The old voice might protest, but I don't see it yet. But I don't have it in my hands. But my bank account says otherwise. Notice that resistance without engaging with it. You're not speaking to the past. You're not repeating the old. Identity. You are declaring what's true from a higher dimension of being. It's already mine. That is your truth now. That is your identity. This declaration isn't about denying your current circumstances. It's about recognizing a deeper reality that exists beneath the surface of appearances. When you say, "It's already mine," you're not trying to convince yourself of something that isn't true. You're aligning with what's already true on the level of potential, of divine order, of your birthright. The revolutionary impact of these words comes from their ability to collapse time. Most manifestation approaches keep you locked in a linear timeline, working now for results later, planting seeds today for harvest tomorrow. But "it's already mine" operates from a different paradigm altogether. It steps outside of time and claims the completion of your desire in the eternal now. This might sound abstract, but the shift in your nervous system when you truly embody these words is anything but abstract. There's a tangible release that happens, a letting go of the striving, a surrender of the forcing. The shoulders drop, the breath deepens, the mind quiets, because something in your being recognizes the truth of what you've just declared. The journey of transformation is really this simple, and this challenging. Simple because the words themselves are clear and direct. Challenging because they ask you to stand in a truth that your senses may not yet confirm. They ask you to be the version of yourself that knows before seeing, that claims before receiving, that embodies before manifesting. And that's the revolutionary decision point we've been building toward. Will you continue to wait for evidence before changing your state? Or will you change your state and allow the evidence to follow as a natural consequence of who you're being? Drop in the comments. It's already mine if you're ready to claim this declaration as your new operating system. When you declare, "It's already mine," understand what's really happening in that moment. You're not speaking from the limited perspective of your past experiences or repeating affirmations to convince your conscious mind of something it doubts. You're actually declaring from a higher dimension of consciousness, a dimension where time is simultaneous rather than linear, where what you desire already exists in its completed form. This declaration is a radical departure from how most people approach manifestation. Most operate from the paradigm of linear time, working in the present to create a different future. But masters of consciousness like Florence Scovel Shinn understood that true transformation happens when you step outside of time altogether. When you speak from this elevated awareness, you're not trying to change reality. You're acknowledging a reality that already exists, just in a dimension your physical senses haven't yet registered. The revelation that transforms everything is recognizing that your desires don't need to be created, they need to be claimed. They already exist in the dimension of potential, in the realm of divine completion. Your job isn't to build them from scratch, but to align your frequency with their existing reality until they can manifest in your physical experience. This mindset shift completely revolutionizes your manifestation practice. Instead of pushing, striving, and forcing, you're recognizing, claiming, and allowing. The energy is completely different. One exhausts you, the other energizes you. One creates resistance, the other creates flow. Now, to anchor this new paradigm, I invite you to take a powerful action. Not just to think these words or speak them, but to write them down. Type, "It's already mine," in the comments below. This isn't just leaving a comment. It's signing a new agreement with reality. It's drawing a line in the sand between who you've been and who you're becoming. When you write these words, you're not just engaging with a video. You're making a declaration to the universe, to your subconscious mind, and to the quantum field of all possibility. You're anchoring this new frequency in your nervous system, creating a tangible reference point for your transformation. And if you notice a slight trembling in your fingers as you type these words, good. That means your nervous system feels the shift. That means something deep within you recognizes the magnitude of what's happening. Because this isn't just a mantra or a positive statement. It's a state, a frequency, a decision point. Behind the scenes of every profound transformation is this moment of declaration, the moment when you claim your new identity before you have external evidence to support it. This declaration isn't wishful thinking or magical bypass. It's you recognizing your creative power and exercising your divine authority to choose which reality you step into. The journey we're on isn't just about changing your thoughts. It's about rewiring your entire relationship with reality. It's about recognizing that manifestation isn't something you do. It's something you are. And that recognition begins with these simple yet profound words. It's already mine. Share in the comments, "I've signed the agreement," after typing, "It's already mine," to cement this powerful new relationship with your desires and with reality itself. Let me show you something profound that separates those who merely practice manifestation techniques from those who embody manifestation as their natural state of being. When you say, "It's already mine," understand that you're not just reciting a mantra or an affirmation. Mantras are tools we use to reach a destination, but this declaration is the destination itself. It's a state, a frequency, a decision point that fundamentally alters your relationship with reality. Think about the energy difference between these two statements. When you say, "I want money," what you're really saying energetically is, "I don't have money." That's the signal. That's the frequency. And life mirrors it back to you perfectly, obediently. But when you say, "It's already mine," you're not asking, you're not negotiating, you're not performing spiritual gymnastics. You are standing as one who knows. This is what Florence Scovel Shinn referred to when she spoke about assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Not hope, not wish, not someday. Fulfilled. Now. This is what "it's already mine" accomplishes in your consciousness. It collapses time. It overrides doubt. It places you energetically in the position of having rather than wanting. The revelation that transforms everything is understanding that assumption isn't pretending or make-believe. It's stepping into a higher order of reality where what you desire already exists. Your job isn't to create it, but to align with it. An assumption is the bridge that connects you to that reality. Behind the scenes of every masterful manifestation is this same pattern. The person didn't chase the manifestation. They assumed the state of its completion and moved from there. They didn't visualize from a place of lack. They remembered from a place of completion. The difference might seem subtle, but the impact is revolutionary. When you truly understand the power of assumption, your entire approach to manifestation shifts. You no longer see yourself as someone trying to attract something outside of you. You recognize yourself as the attractor field, itself naturally drawing to you what already belongs to you by divine right. This shift in identity is what Florence Scovel Shinn was pointing to when she taught that the outer world must conform to the inner assumption. The world doesn't respond to what you ask for. It responds to who you are being. And when you are being the one for whom it's already done, already complete, already yours, the mirror of reality has no choice but to reflect that back to you. The journey of embodiment we're on isn't about adding something new to your consciousness. It's about removing the barriers to what's already true. It's about recognizing that the separation between you and your desire was never real. It was always an illusion created by a limited perspective. "It's already mine" is the declaration that dissolves that illusion. It's the key that unlocks the door to a reality where waiting is no longer necessary because completion already exists in the eternal now. Type in the comments, "I assume," the state of completion if you're ready to shift from wanting to having, from chasing to attracting, from hoping to knowing. If you've ever studied quantum physics, you've encountered the fascinating revelation that time isn't the rigid, linear structure we experience in our day-to-day lives. At the quantum level, time is more fluid, more malleable, and this understanding gives us profound insight into why "it's already mine" works with such power. This declaration doesn't just change your thoughts, it literally collapses time in your consciousness. It brings the future into the now, not as a concept, but as a lived reality. When you genuinely embody the energy of "it's already mine," you override the mental programming that keeps your desire at a distance in some imagined future. You step outside the timeline altogether and claim completion in the eternal now. This is why the shift feels so radical in your body, because you're literally rewiring your relationship with time itself. Once you've made this declaration from a place of knowing rather than hoping, your environment has no choice but to begin matching it. This isn't magical thinking, it's the natural consequence of shifting your energetic broadcast. The universe is fundamentally responsive, not to your words, not to your actions, but to your felt identity. And your felt identity is comprised of two essential elements: what you truly believe about yourself at the core level and what you refuse to question anymore. Let that sink in for a moment. Your identity isn't just what you affirm, it's what you've made non-negotiable in your consciousness. It's the aspects of yourself that you no longer debate, doubt, or second-guess. When you say, "I want money," you're still leaving room for debate. Your subconscious can argue, "But do you deserve it? But is it possible? But what if it doesn't come?" But when your identity becomes "it's already mine," those questions become irrelevant. They simply don't apply to someone who's standing in completion. The journey of transformation we're on isn't about convincing the universe to give you what you want. It's about aligning your consciousness with what's already yours. The universe isn't withholding anything from you. It's simply waiting for you to claim your inheritance through the pathway of your embodied identity. Think about the people in your life who seem to manifest with ease, the ones who attract opportunities, resources, and experiences that others struggle for. What sets them apart isn't better techniques or stronger visualizations. It's their unshakable identity. They don't hope for results. They assume them. They don't plead with the universe. They collaborate with it. They don't question their worthiness. They've made it non-negotiable. This revelation completely transforms how you approach the manifestation process. Instead of focusing primarily on what you're doing, you shift your attention to who you're being. Instead of collecting more techniques, you simplify into alignment with your true nature as a creator. The impact of this shift is immediate, not necessarily in your external circumstances, but in your internal state. There's a profound peace that comes with knowing rather than seeking, with remembering rather than striving. Share in the comments, I am the creator, not the seeker. If you're feeling the paradigm shift from chasing your desires to claiming what's already yours by divine right. So here's my challenge to you. Make "it's already mine" your non-negotiable belief. Not just a nice idea you play with occasionally. Not just a concept you explore when you're feeling optimistic. Make it the foundation of your new identity, the baseline from which you operate in every situation. What does non-negotiable actually mean in practice? It means that when your mind freaks out about a bill that arrives, you say, "It's already mine." When the old version of you tries to come back wearing worry like a costume, you say, "It's already mine." When external circumstances seem to contradict your inner knowing, you say, "It's already mine." Not as a desperate attempt to convince yourself, but as a calm reminder of what you've already decided is true. The revolutionary insight here is that you're not using this declaration to change your reality. You're using it to remind yourself of a reality that already exists. You're not trying to manifest abundance. You're remembering that abundance is already yours. You're not trying to attract love. You're remembering that love is already yours. This subtle but profound distinction changes everything about how you approach manifestation. When you truly embody this mindset, something remarkable happens. You stop fighting for what you want and start living from it. There's a world of difference between these two approaches. Fighting for something means you're operating from the energy of not having it. You're pushing, striving, forcing, qualifying, but living from. It means you're operating from the energy of completion. You're allowing, receiving, expecting, embodying. This shift doesn't just change how you feel. It transforms how you show up in the world. Your actions naturally align with your new identity. Your tone of voice shifts subtly but significantly. Your physical posture changes. Your decisions start reflecting the new you, not the doubting, hoping one, but the knowing, embodied one. Have you ever noticed how differently you walk after receiving great news? There's a lightness, a confidence, a certainty in your step. That's not a performance. It's the natural expression of your inner state. When you live from "it's already mine," that walk, that energy, that presence becomes your default setting, not an occasional visitor. The journey of transformation we're discussing isn't about adding more to your spiritual practice. It's about simplifying into alignment with what's already true. It's about removing the barriers between you and your natural state of abundance, love, and fulfillment. And the most direct pathway to this alignment is through your embodied identity. When you fully anchor into, "It's already mine," momentum begins to build. Not because you're pushing for results, but because you've shifted the fundamental frequency you're broadcasting. And this is when things start moving suddenly. Money arrives from unexpected sources. Opportunities appear that weren't there before. People remark that you seem different somehow. What changed? You changed. You finally stopped trying to get it and started being the version who has it. Write in the comments, "I've shifted from fighting to living," if you can feel the difference between striving for your desires and embodying them as already fulfilled. This is where the magic of embodiment truly begins to unfold in your experience. When you've fully anchored into "It's already mine" as your non-negotiable identity, momentum starts to build in your external reality. Not gradually, not incrementally, but suddenly. As if a dam has broken and all that was being held back rushes forward at once. You might notice money arriving from unexpected sources, a refund you weren't expecting, a client who decides to work with you out of nowhere, an opportunity that seems to find you rather than you hunting it down. Relationships shift, doors open that seemed permanently closed before, and people around you start making comments like, "There's something different about you." What changed? What's fascinating about this phase of the journey is that nothing has changed externally, yet everything has changed internally. You've made the quantum leap from being someone who's trying to get results to being someone who naturally attracts them. You've shifted from the frequency of seeking to the frequency of having. And that internal transformation creates a ripple effect that reorganizes your entire outer experience to match it. This is what Florence Scovel Shinn referred to as living in the end. It's the art of assuming the result and relaxing into it. Notice the profound difference in energy between these two approaches. When you're focused on the how it will happen, when it will arrive, what steps you need to take, you're operating from the energy of separation. You're positioning yourself as distant from your desire, trying to build a bridge to reach it. But when you live in the end, you've already crossed that bridge. You're standing in the completion of your desire, looking back at the path has already traveled. From this vantage point, you don't need to force, manipulate, or control how things unfold. You simply allow the perfect path to reveal itself naturally, trusting that what's yours by divine right can never be kept from you. The revelation that transforms everything is this: you're not manipulating reality when you live in the end. You're reminding it. You're aligning with what's already true in the dimension of completion and allowing it to manifest in your physical experience. This isn't about bending reality to your will. It's about remembering who you truly are and what's already yours. Behind the scenes of this process is a profound shift in how you relate to the manifestation journey itself. Most people approach manifestation as a project, something to work on, to perfect, to eventually complete. But those who master the art of living in the end recognize that manifestation isn't something they do. It's something they are. They don't manifest abundance. They are abundance manifesting. They don't attract love. They are love attracting. The doing flows naturally from the being, not the other way around. When you walk in the energy of "It's already mine," when you breathe it, speak it, embody it, the world has no choice but to reorganize itself around your new frequency. Not because you forced it to, but because you've reminded it of what was always true. Type in the comments, "I live in the end now," if you're ready to step into this powerful state of completion and allow your external reality to catch up with what you've already claimed internally. Now breathe again. Let that phrase, "It's already mine," be your atmosphere, your oxygen, your natural state. Feel how different that energy is from chasing. There's a profound liberation that comes with this shift, a release of the constant pressure to make things happen, to prove yourself worthy, to force results into existence. When you operate from "it's already mine," the desperate grip of wanting loosens, the anxious monitoring for evidence fades, the exhausting performance of qualifying for your desires dissolves. What replaces all of that is something remarkable, a quiet knowing, a peaceful certainty, a grounded confidence that doesn't need external validation to sustain itself. This feeling isn't something you manufacture or force. It's something you remember. It's your natural state before the world convinced you that you were separate from what you desire. The journey of embodiment isn't about becoming something new. It's about returning to what was always true. The illumination that changes everything is recognizing that your desires aren't foreign objects you need to attract from outside yourself. They're aspects of your own consciousness that are seeking expression through you. The feeling of having isn't something you achieve. It's something you allow. It's not a destination you reach through effort. It's a remembering you access through surrender. And here's where we move into the next phase of embodiment. The initial declaration of "it's already mine" creates a spark, a moment of clarity, a glimpse of a new possibility. But for this spark to become a flame that transforms your entire reality, you need to move beyond the initial excitement into sustained embodiment. This next step isn't about shouting your affirmation from the rooftops or convincing others of your new perspective. It's about moving silently with this truth in your bones. It's about anchoring the state, not just feeling the momentary high of a new concept. Moving silently with conviction means allowing this truth to inform how you walk through the world moment by moment. It means making decisions from the place of having rather than wanting. It means speaking, breathing, and moving as someone who knows rather than someone who hopes. Not as a performance for others to witness, but as an authentic expression of your aligned state. The journey of transformation doesn't happen in grand dramatic moments. It happens in the quiet choices you make when no one is watching. It happens in how you respond when circumstances seem to contradict your declaration. It happens in the private conversation you have with yourself when doubt arises. This silent conviction is what distinguishes those who experience momentary inspiration from those who experience permanent transformation. Anyone can feel the spark of a new idea, but embodying that idea until it becomes your default state. That's the art of conscious creation. The revolution happening within you isn't about adding more. It's about settling into what's already true. It's not about climbing higher, it's about going deeper. Not about learning new concepts, but about embodying timeless wisdom that's always been available to you. Write in the comments, "I move with silent power," if you're ready to go beyond the initial excitement and anchor this truth into every cell of your being. Let's explore what typically happens right at this transformative moment. You've said the words, "it's already mine." You've felt something shift inside you, a spark of possibility, a glimpse of a new way of being. And then, almost immediately, most people sabotage this moment in a subtle but powerful way. They start looking for evidence. They check their bank account. They monitor their phone for messages. They scan their environment for signs that something has changed. But here's the revelation that changes everything. Looking is the language of doubt. When you're searching for proof, what you're really saying is, "I don't fully believe what I just declared." You're positioning yourself as someone who needs confirmation before they can fully commit to their new state of being. And that very act of seeking evidence pushes your desire further away, keeping it perpetually in the future, always coming but never here. The mindset shift that creates true transformation is recognizing that evidence doesn't precede belief, it follows it. Your circumstances don't change first and then allow you to believe. Your belief changes first, and then your circumstances naturally reorganize to match it. This is the hidden truth behind every manifestation that seems miraculous. The inner shift always came first. So what does the alternative look like? Instead of seeking proof, you settle into what I call the state of ownership. Think about something you already have and value, perhaps your home, a relationship, or a skill you've mastered. How do you feel about it? Do you wake up every morning obsessively checking to make sure it's still there? Do you constantly need reassurance that it belongs to you? Of course not. There's a natural relaxation around things we truly own. There's a quiet calm, a taken-for-granted quality to them. This is precisely the energy you want to embody with everything you desire. That same relaxed certainty, that same unquestioned knowing. When something is already yours, you don't frantically chase it. You don't anxiously monitor its status. You simply live with the peaceful awareness of its presence in your life. The journey of manifestation we're discussing requires a fundamental shift in how you relate to evidence. Instead of needing to see it to believe it, you choose to believe it before you see it. This isn't blind faith or wishful thinking. It's conscious creation. It's recognizing that your state of being is the cause and your circumstances are the effect, never the other way around. Behind the scenes of this shift is a profound reordering of your relationship with reality itself. Most people position themselves as recipients of reality, waiting for circumstances to change so they can feel differently. But masters of consciousness position themselves as creators of reality, choosing how they feel first and allowing circumstances to follow. The impact of this reversal cannot be overstated. When you no longer need external confirmation to validate your internal state, you've discovered true freedom. You're no longer at the mercy of conditions. You're no longer waiting for permission to embody the energy of having what you desire. You're claiming that energy now, regardless of what your senses currently report. Drop in the comments, "I own it now," if you're ready to shift from seeking evidence to embodying the calm certainty of ownership. Let's explore how to stabilize this powerful shift you've begun. Many people experience moments of alignment, brief glimpses where they touch the frequency of having rather than wanting, only to slide back into their old patterns when challenges arise. The difference between temporary inspiration and permanent transformation lies in how you stabilize this new state. Here's the illuminating truth. You don't stabilize this shift through effort or willpower. You can't force yourself to maintain a high vibration or constantly monitor your thoughts for negativity. That approach creates an underlying tension that actually works against what you're trying to accomplish. Instead, stabilization happens through embodiment, through thinking, speaking, and moving naturally from your new identity. Embodiment isn't something you do, it's something you become. It's allowing the truth of "it's already mine" to infiltrate every aspect of your being until it's no longer a concept you're practicing, but simply who you are. This is the bridge between intellectual understanding and lived experience, between knowing about this principle and knowing it in your bones. To make this tangible and practical, I invite you to try something with me right now. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine that everything you've ever wanted, the money, the freedom, the relationship, the health, the impact, the peace, has already arrived. Not with fanfare or dramatic announcement, but as a quiet, internal realization. Oh, it's here. Now, from within this soul vision, notice how you would move through your day. How would you walk? How would your breathing change? What expression would naturally appear on your face as you poured your morning coffee? What kinds of thoughts would cross your mind? And more importantly, What kinds of thoughts would no longer have any power over you? This visualization isn't just a pleasant daydream. It's actually a profound technology for neurological rewiring. When you vividly imagine yourself in this completed state, your brain and nervous system begin creating new neural pathways that support this reality. You're literally building the internal architecture that will sustain your transformation. The journey of embodiment happens on multiple levels simultaneously. At the mental level, you begin thinking from the end result rather than about it. At the emotional level, you allow yourself to feel the natural peace and gratitude that come with having, rather than the anxiety and urgency of wanting. At the physical level, your body begins to carry itself differently, with more ease, more openness, more presence. Behind the scenes of this process is a fundamental shift in your relationship with time. Most people live in a constant state of when I get the money, when I find the relationship, when I achieve the goal. But embodiment places you squarely in the now, not as a place of lack to be escaped, but as the fertile ground where your desires are already complete in seed form, already unfolding in perfect timing. This shift from when to now doesn't just change how you feel about your desires. It changes how you interact with every aspect of your life. There's a presence, a fullness, an aliveness that permeates your experience when you're no longer postponing your joy until some future condition is met. Share in the comments. I embody my desires now. If you're ready to move beyond concepts and into the lived experience of your completed vision. Now let's explore what Florence Scovel Shinn pointed to as perhaps the most crucial aspect of this entire process. She understood that there's a profound difference between occasionally entering the state of the wish fulfilled and actually remaining there. This distinction separates those who experience fleeting manifestations from those who completely transform their reality. Most people approach this spiritual principle like tourists visiting a luxury hotel. They check in for a weekend retreat, feeling the high of alignment, speaking the right words, visualizing with clarity, but then they check out and return to their real life, where doubt, worry, and limitation are the default settings. They treat the state of completion as a special destination they visit rather than the home they actually live in. But the transformation we're discussing isn't about visiting the energy of "it's already mine" when you're feeling optimistic or when circumstances support your belief. It's about remaining in that state even especially when, the external world seems to contradict it. It's about making this consciousness your permanent residence, not your vacation spot. The revelation that changes everything is understanding that manifestation isn't a practice you do occasionally. It's a state you embody consistently. The power doesn't come from perfect techniques or flawless visualizations. It comes from the sustained frequency you broadcast day after day, moment after moment, choice after choice. This journey requires a level of commitment that goes beyond what most are willing to give. Not commitment to working harder or doing more, but commitment to being different, to holding your new state regardless of what your senses report, regardless of what others believe, regardless of how long the manifestation appears to be taking in the physical world. So here's what I invite you to do, not as an experiment or a temporary practice, but as a decision point in your evolution. For the rest of today, be the version of you who already has what you desire. Not in theory, not as a mental concept, but in your actual felt experience. Feel it in your body. Express it in your voice. Embody it in your movements. You don't have to announce this to anyone. You don't have to prove it to the world. This is between you and your own consciousness. Hold the state, not with strain or effort, but with the natural ease that comes from recognizing what's already true. That's what changes everything. not perfect. Techniques, not spiritual knowledge, not even powerful declarations, though they can certainly initiate the shift. What actually transforms your reality is your willingness to embody your desired state before you see external evidence of it, and to remain there through the transition period when the old reality is dissolving and the new one is still forming. This level of internal consistency creates a gravitational field that begins to pull your external circumstances into alignment with your inner state, not through force or manipulation, but through the natural law that like attracts like, that inner determines outer, that consciousness creates reality. Write in the comments, I choose to remain, if you're ready to stop visiting the state of completion and start living there permanently. Let me reveal why the declaration, "It's already mine," holds such transformative power in your life. This phrase isn't just a positive affirmation. It's a reality-altering recognition that fundamentally changes your relationship with everything you desire. It works because it cancels the perceived space between you and what you want. Think about how we typically approach manifestation. We position our desires as separate from us, something out there that we need to attract, achieve, or earn. We create an imaginary distance, a gap that needs to be bridged through effort, time, and qualification. But this very perception of separation is what keeps our desires at arm's length. "It's already mine" collapses that illusory gap completely. It recognizes that there is no in-between, no distance to travel, no bridge to cross. There is only you and the now. And in the now, completion already exists. Your desires aren't separate entities floating somewhere in the future. They're aspects of your own consciousness seeking expression through you. This paradigm shift fundamentally rewires how you experience reality. Instead of seeing yourself as someone trying to get somewhere, you recognize yourself as someone who's already arrived. Instead of pursuing what you want, you embody the state of having already received it. The journey transforms from an external quest to an internal remembering. The revelation that changes everything is understanding that time and space are constructs of the mind, not ultimate realities. In the dimension of consciousness where creation actually happens, your desires already exist in their completed form. Your job isn't to create them from scratch, but to align with their existing reality until they can manifest in your physical experience. Now, here's where most people stumble on this journey. When doubt shows up. And it will show up, often just as you're beginning to feel the power of your new state. The old identity doesn't surrender without a fight. It will whisper questions. Is this really working? Where's the evidence? What if you're just fooling yourself? The natural response to these doubts is to either argue with them or try to suppress them. Both approaches actually strengthen the doubt by giving it your energy and attention. The masterful approach is entirely different. When doubt appears, don't fight it, don't resist it, don't even engage with it. Just stay in the state. Remain in the energy of "it's already mine," not by forcing yourself to believe, but by simply returning to the truth you've recognized. This isn't about convincing your mind of something it doubts. It's about operating from a deeper knowing that transcends the mind's questions altogether. See doubt for what it really is, not a warning sign that you're doing something wrong, but a test of whether you'll remain in your new identity. It's the old programming making one last attempt to pull you back into familiar territory. And the way you pass this test isn't by fighting, it's by staying, by continuing to embody your new state regardless of what thoughts may cross your mind. Share in the comments. I recognize there is no gap if you're feeling the profound truth that you and your desires were never truly separate in the first place. As we come to this moment of completion in our journey together, I want you to remember something powerful. September isn't just another month on your calendar. It's your threshold, your portal, the sacred space between who you've been and who you've now decided to be. The version of you who declares, "It's already mine," isn't waiting for permission to live your desires. They're embodying them. Now in this moment, regardless of what the external world shows, the transformation we've explored today isn't just a concept to think about occasionally. It's a state to live from consistently. And if this resonates with the truth you've always known deep within, I invite you to join me on this ongoing journey of embodiment. Subscribe to this channel if you feel called to remain in this frequency, to be surrounded by reminders of who you truly are and what's already yours by divine right. I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Simply write, "I claim what's already mine," if this message found its way to exactly the right moment in your journey. Your declaration isn't just words on a screen, it's a ripple in consciousness that affects everyone who encounters it. If you found value in our time together, leave a like on this video. Not as validation for me, but as an acknowledgement to yourself that you're committed to this new way of being. Each like creates a marker in your consciousness, a reminder of the day you decided to stop waiting and start embodying. There's a video right here that continues this exploration of embodied consciousness. Click and join me there as we go even deeper into what it means to live from the state of completion rather than seeking. Your journey doesn't end here. It's just beginning to unfold in the most beautiful ways.